My name is Thorsten Overgaard. I'm a Danish photographer. I travel the world taking photographs and teaching photography. Today I will do something unusual. I will adjust the focus on my own Leica M. Before I get into it, below the video there is free downloads. There is a new ebook I made, or booklet, that is called What is Sharpness in Photography, and that is all about sharpness, how to get it, where does it come from, and what is it. There's also a book about the great masters of photography and the iconic photographs, how they made them, and also I write about how I photograph and why I photograph. Both are free, and you just click on the link below the video, put in the code and your email, and you have them in a few minutes. A Leica M like this one, this is like an M10R in black paint. This is a very classic camera, and it's basically indestructible. So this one, if you could see it really close, you would see it has different banks here. Basically the whole top plate is like a wavelength now, and it still works. There's one thing that does happen when the camera bumps into something, or if I drop it, or something else, and that is that the focus goes out of adjustment. And so let me explain the focus, and then I'll get into how to fix it yourself. A Leica M is called a rangefinder camera. The M in the Leica M name, model name, stands for Messsucher, and that is a German word. It means distance measurement. And the great news with this camera almost 100 years ago was that you could actually measure the distance with the cameras. You could achieve focus. So you could say when you focus a camera, you're basically measuring the distance. So that's what was built into this camera. And the way that it works is that it's a rangefinder, same thing, but that means that you have a viewfinder here that you look through, and that is where you see the picture, and you don't see what you see is what you get or anything. You just look through an optical window, so you see the frame, and then there is an outline, some white lines that shows what is going to be in the picture. So you actually see more that's going to be in the picture. So it is basically like looking through a window. It's very beautiful and clear. So that's the actual framing. The focusing is this eye over here. And the way that it works is that you see inside, when I look through the viewfinder here, the rangefinder, I see in the center a highlighted square. And as I turn the focus here, because it's manual focus, then the square moves in, so it clicks. So if I want to focus on, I'm looking at a tree out here in the garden. If I want to focus on that one, then I turn this one till the tree is overlapping, and there it is. So now I measure the distance to that tree. So that means when I take the photograph, the tree is going to be in focus. The strange thing for people that are new to the rangefinder or the Leica M is that when you look for the viewfinder, everything is in focus because it's like looking through the glasses here. But it has this little feature, the center square, that is meant to measure the focus. And the way it's done is that in here there's a mechanism that is pushed, and that basically moves this eye here. And the way that is pushed is that you have here, when you turn the focus ring, you can see the metal here moves up and down, or this barrel, and that is the one that pushes this one, and that is how you measure the focus. So it's kind of like, it's not exactly like the eyes, but it is like two eyes measuring, and when they match, then you have the focus. And the amazing thing with this system is that you can measure something so accurate. You can have very narrow depth of field lenses, where basically when I focus on something 4 meters away, it's only this much that is in focus. Everything before and everything after is going to be blurred or out of focus. So that means that it has to be very precise, and it is a precision instrument. So what does happen is that if the strap goes off the camera and it drops, or I hit a wall, or you could say if you put it in a camera bag like this and the camera bag is bumped down. I mean, sometimes when I have my cameras in bags and you take in and out of cars and hotels, sometimes a bag falls on the floor, and then maybe the focus goes out of adjustment. What I normally do is I tend to send my cameras and lenses, not my lenses, but I send my cameras. They ungefähr gets to Leica in Germany every 6-9 months. Then they clean them, they fix everything. I can have a lens here where the front is loose, and they fix it. And they check the focus, and they set the focus, they clean the sensor, and anything else that needs to get adjusted with the camera. This is priceless service in the sense that sometimes it's just a free service. Sometimes they charge a little bit. I actually can't tell what they charge for when they charge. But focusing is something you can get adjusted. There's some places where you can go in. You're basically supposed to be able to go into bigger Leica stores around the world and get the focus adjusted. That's something coming. And that's also why I have this video, because the problem is that this one actually just got back from Leica, and then I dropped it somehow and it went out of focus. And then like, okay, so now I send it to Leica, and then in 1, 2, 3, 4 months I'm gonna get the camera back. And I actually don't have time for this. I need this one next week for something. So I thought, okay, maybe I can do the focus adjustment myself, and that is what I'm going to show you. We'll see how this goes now. I actually have very big respect for the people that designed this and made this. So I like to send it to Leica, and they can do it per their very high standards. And I don't like when people on forums, camera forums, on photography forums says, oh, it's very easy to adjust this. You can just remove the screw here, and then below there is a screw you can adjust, because that's not true. Supposedly there's supposed to be free adjustments, and this one is, and that can also happen, you bang the camera into something, and then the focus adjustment jumps. So normally you focus like this, it goes to the left and the right. But if it jumps, it's really annoying, and then it sits up here, and it doesn't really match. So that's this one. That is behind this one is an adjustment for that. I've never been there. I don't have any intention of going there. And if we take a traditional Leica camera, well, I wasn't that lucky there, because I thought this one had a red dot. Normally I Leica have a red logo here, for this one had. I do have one here that has it, nothing to do with it. But normally there sits a red Leica logo right here, and then remove the logo and there's a screw. But that is not the screw we're going to use for this. The one we're going to use is one that sits inside here. So there is this wheel that moves, and that is the focus. And then I bought this key here on Amazon. I actually bought it twice, and I decided I'm going to buy the absolutely best one I can get, which is $9. The first one came with some other stuff, and I overlooked it because it's so small, and then I wondered where is it, and I ordered it again, and here it is. And this is, I don't know if it's made of titanium or gold or what it is, but it is the best key you can get. And fundamentally, the way that you adjust a camera, here comes an interesting thing. How do you check that it's out of focus? Because sometimes you take photos, or you come home and you look at your photos and they're a little bit blurry, or some of them are, and you think, oh, there must be something wrong with the camera, or maybe it's me. The way to test if your focus is right is you put on a lens, it doesn't matter which lens, and then you have to find something far away. And you say, here, the focus on this lens goes from 3 meters to 5 meters, and then it goes to infinity. That's the 8 lying down, that's the infinity symbol. So you say from 5 meters to infinity is not that far. The ideal is if you have a tower, a water tower far away. I actually wanted to go out on location and do this video by a water tower, but then I realized there's so much traffic noise, so I can't really do it there, but that would have been fun. But something far away, and actually here when I look through my garden, there's a trailer standing far down there. It is probably 70 meters away. So what I can use is, like if you live in New York or somewhere where you have skyscrapers, or you have a mountain far away, where you go out and then you turn the focusing ring to infinity. And if the mountains or the water tower or the mast or whatever it is that you have far away, if it clicks in that it matches, then the camera is okay. If you can focus beyond the mountains, it's out of focus, or the adjustment is out of focus. If you can't quite get there, you go like, you try, but you can't actually focus on the mountains, you can't reach them, it's also out of adjustment. So when it matches, the camera is okay, and that's all you need to know. That means you can just use the camera and you can just take photographs. And this one is a little bit out. So what I can do this is I can take, I can put on a 90mm because that is supposed to be the most critical. So now I take a 90mm and then this one fits in here. And of course the exciting thing with this is, one thing, does it work? Secondly, can I do this without ruining the camera? I mean, I can never ruin the camera more than I can send it to Leica and they can fix it. It's just a matter of how long it takes and how much it costs. But let's try this. And I have no idea what way it turns. So let's say now I click it in. And let's just put it down here so you can see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to turn it a slight bit this way. And then I'll see, does it have back focus or front focus? So I put on the lens here and then I look here and I can actually go beyond. So then I will try and go the other way, yeah. And sometimes you will see I do like this with the camera because you're trying to match some lines. And sometimes it's easier to see the lines. And even when I do street photography, I will go, instead of focusing like this or focusing like this, I would actually go here and measure the distance. And now I can frame. So that's very, I'm very aware that first I'm measuring the distance and then I'm taking the photograph. It doesn't have to be in the same go. So let's see. So now I turned it this way. So now I'll actually try and turn it the other way. Let's just see how we can do it. So now it clicks in. And it's not a lot. It has to be. So let's just see if I go this one. I pretend that was like straight up vertical and see how that works. And now it is actually there. It's very close. I'm going to give it a little bit more. So here I had like this, and then yeah, that's it. And then we'll see how it works. And I can actually take a picture of this thing down there, and then I can go in and I can look at how does it look, and it looks actually sharp. And then I can try, I have some text over here, and see how does that look. And this is very close. I have a little bit of front focus. Let's see. So I'm going to do it one more time. There we go. That was a very tiny bit. It's almost like I didn't do it, but I did. Yeah. And that doesn't quite match. Let's see. This does actually match. Let's try this again. So here I just put on infinity instead of trying to focus. I just go infinity and see how does it look. And that actually looks okay. So that's it. So that's actually possible to do. And the reason I put on the 90mm is actually, you can say it's more critical. So the way I have seen technicians do it, so these days, if you go to Leica, they have new fine-tuned machines that does this very high standard. Before that, they had another thing, almost like, it's not a tripod, but you put the camera here and you have some screens here, and then you can adjust it, and that is almost as precise. What I have seen is I've seen technicians out in the field that have maybe like 20 years experience. So what they do is they would put on a 90mm, and they didn't have like a focusing bench or something like that. So they will just, they kind of knew this is my table, and then I have this table over there with some tools, and I focus on this, and I look at the screen, and I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. And then he would open the door, and there would be a chimney standing over there far away, and he would focus on that when he would take a picture, and it was made of yellow bricks, and then he looked at the yellow bricks and see if is this thing in focus, and then he would adjust it. And then he would find something that was really close by, the closest focus. You could say, for example, this one is 1 meter, so you'd find something 1 meter away and take a photo of that, and he would test that. And once the focus is correct on close focus, medium focus, and long distance with a 90mm, then it's going to be perfect on 35 and 50 and so on, because they're less critical. And that also means it's going to work with a lens like the Noclux 0.95. So this is how it's done. And you say, I travel with, I have spare SD cards, I have stuff so I can clean the sensor. I rarely clean my sensors because the cameras goes to Leica that often. But I do have, you could say, my emergency kit. If a SD card dies or something like that, I have a new SD card, and I also can clean my sensor if there's a lot of dust. If I was in Qatar and there's lots of sand or whatever on the sensor, I can actually get out of it. And similar, I'm going to travel with this one. So I actually have the possibility to adjust the focus on a Leica M camera in case something happens. Then comes the good question. Now, if you have any camera or another Leica camera, you might be worried that do I really need to buy this $9 tool to adjust my focus? And no, you don't. So you take other cameras. Here we like the Q. Here we have the SL3. These ones, you don't have to adjust the focus. There is no focus mechanism. What you have here is live view, so it actually looks through the lens, and there's nothing mechanical that I have to match. So you could say, if I drop this one, and you could say it went out of focus, it would just mean that I had to turn the lens more to get the focus right. And when it looks right in the viewfinder, it's going to be right. And the same with the Q here. This is the Q3. There is no, I mean, there's autofocus, and the autofocus is not depending on where the lens sits or something. Like if the lens was bent a little bit, it will still match the sharpness. And similarly, if you go manual focus on this one, what you see is what you get. So there is no adjustment. And you could say that's one of the great things. I mean, you could say we all love the good old Leica M, and they used to be individually handmade. Now it's more uniform production, but it's still handmade in the sense that something goes out of adjustment or something needs to be fixed. It's actually a person that's going to fix it by hand. Some other cameras, you could say, something goes wrong, it's like a computer, you get a new one because it can't really be fixed by hand. But this is a lot of mechanical parts, so that can be fixed. And these ones doesn't have to go back and get fixed for that, and you can say that is a blessing and a beautiful thing that you have a camera that doesn't require any adjustment. But I still love this one, and I'm okay with that it needs some adjustment. That was all I had to tell you today. I hope this was useful, and I hope that if you're there, you're going to get this, and maybe you can help yourself adjusting the focus when it is needed. Remember, there is free downloads below the video, and until I see you the next time, remember to always wear a camera, and thank you for watching.